No, I didn't know this before, but I had an American friend when I was living in Berlin. She was awesome. Shout out to Linda from Colorado. And we were talking one day, and she said, you know, you're not really white. You're ethnic white in the States. She said, my mom would be kind of scared of you. So it's different. And I never heard that before. It was such an interesting comment. And then I kind of loved it. And then I watched the documentary about it and about the immigration from Eastern Europe to the United States. And there really was such a thing as an ethnic white, you know, Polish, Czech, whatever. And these people were usually relegated to the worst jobs because there were some racist theories going around that they can handle menial jobs better because they're more resistant to dirt and mud and all sorts of like these kind of stereotypes. Is that image still there? A little bit?
So I would say barely.
I see.
But you know what? There's a little bit of it linked. I'll say it's. There's a historian, maybe this is too finicky, but 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago, that first big wave of Eastern European migrants, they really were treated. And I come from I grew up in a part of Pennsylvania that had a ton of that migration. Actually, a lot of Slovenes, a lot of Slovenes, people who came to work in coal mines, in iron. There's a big coal area. So very difficult menial work that, tons of Slovenes, Slovaks, a little bit Hungarians, Czechs, Poles, and that they were kind of at the bottom of the bottom of the white pecking order. Right. They were ethnic whites. And that there was the difference between WASPs, like white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, very kind of mainland traditional, where white people are, and then a level below that Irish, and then kind of a level below that Eastern European. There's an old term called bohunk. I don't think anyone's ever heard that, but that's Bohemian Hungarian.
Wow.
And they would you would get bohunks, and they would have the worst. They wouldn't know no one would be able to communicate with them, and they'd have to carry like molten steel, the stuff that's really like hazardous because it's Pennsylvania steel country. Yeah. But that's 100 years ago. Right. And those people are mostly now, like Pittsburgh is full of third, fourth generation Slovaks and Slovenes. Who, you know, still go to church and have ethnic food, but that sense of difference from, you know, like Protestant Anglo-Americans is very slight, because it's been so long. Where there is, newer immigrants, and when I was a kid, that was us. We actually had neighbors who called us the beasts from the East, and we're kind of, I had some schoolyard problems, and eggs were thrown in our car, and there's a little bit of anti-immigrant animus in that, but also hard to pin down exactly. But I think there are associations, especially with the Balkan, kind of vaguely Balkan, that the Balkans are kind of vaguely criminal. The Poland area is people who work in still fresh arrivals from Poland. You have a lot of cleaning ladies from Poland. So people, and actually my mom and aunt worked at times as cleaning ladies or as nannies. My cousin worked as a nanny. So those jobs, and that there's something kind of menial about part of the area and kind of somewhat criminal about the other part of the area. And people who don't, but people will, and movies are bad with that. Like there's a movie series called Taken, and the gangsters are Albanian. And people don't know where, but people will be like, where is Albania? And I'm very affectionate. I really love Albania, and I've written about it and spent a lot of time there. But these are almost floating names for people. For a lot of Americans, they couldn't find it on a map. But somehow that kind of former Yugoslavia zone, Albania, Bulgaria, means something kind of gangsterish, and Poland is sort of, you know, menial labor made, something like that. And then Russia's vaguely, you know, is threatening in a different way. And then parts of it, honestly, like Lithuania, Latvia, Slovakia, people just have no idea. That's just a question mark. So there are prejudices still floating around, but they're a little bit vague.
Right.
And not very, you know, I don't think there's a lot of discrimination based on that, but there are prejudices.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's funny that people from the Balkans in Hollywood usually kidnap Liam Neeson's daughters.
Unfortunately, and yeah, it really should.
But to be honest, I mean, it's similar in Western Europe. Let's not just blame America, because I was, when I was working in Berlin, after 3 years, my German boss would still introduce me as Zaza from Serbia.
Oh no.
I was like, okay,
yeah,
here we go. But it's fine. It's or even sometimes even Siberia, which was quite amusing. Terrible. Oi, thank you for listening to the episode. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe and follow on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. As always, eternal glory and gratitude to my producers who are supporting this show on Patreon, the kings and queens, Gordan, Jurechuk, Lorenzo, Veronica, Mila, Carmen, and Taichi. Without you, this pod would not have been possible at all. If you'd like to become a certified Tovarish or Tovarishica of the show too, head to Patreon, find Smart Cookies podcast on there, and become one. It's as simple as that. Thank you.